the dark clouds over Europe. We're going to talk to Mark Grant right now from Southwest Securities, known as the Wizard by the more than 5,000 readers of his newsletter. And the Wizard says that there will be essentially a collapse of the EU that'll massively hit the U.S. That's pretty dramatic, Mark. What do you mean by a collapse of the EU?
Well, the problem, Matt, is that the EU is down to one or two choices. They either have to increase their stability fund, their stabilization fund, to about $2 trillion, which would cause, in my opinion, the downgrades of France and of Germany. So that's not going to work. Or they stay with the amount of money they have in it now, which is around $650 billion. And that's not enough to support the bailouts of Italy and Spain, so you're left at a place where I just don't think they're going to make it, and the Wizard, as you pointed out, is not going to lend them any money either, so there they are.
Hey, Mark Grant, I love a man who can quote Shrek in their research note, and you did just that, and I got to bring it up for everybody because it made me chuckle. You wrote, "Oh, Shrek, don't worry, things just seem bad because it's dark and rainy, and Fiona's father hired a sleazy hitman to whack you." You're talking about Europe. I mean, how much worse can it get, Mark?
Well, Carol, it can get a lot worse. Either if one of the funding countries, you know, in the case of the Greek bailout, which is the middle of September, you have Finland, which said, we're not going to lend you any money unless we have collateral. And now you have Slovakia, Austria, the Netherlands saying the same thing. All it takes is one country to veto. And if they veto it, that means Greece doesn't get the bailout money, and they go bankrupt in the messiest kind of way. They just default.
Hey, Mark, you know, you said maybe a big problem would be a downgrade for France and Germany. I'm looking at the 10-year yield here in the U.S., and I'm thinking maybe they need a downgrade from S&P, right? Because that would take off a little bit, alleviate a little pressure. What does an actual EU collapse look like? I mean, you mentioned that a default of Greece would be messy. The collapse of the EU, a lot of people said, would be, you know, extremely messy.
Matt, it would be something that we've never encountered before, and in my opinion, and I hate to sound horribly negative, but in my opinion, if that were to take place, it's going to make Lehman look like a walk in the park. You're talking about a currency that would no longer be effective. You're talking about massive debts in a currency that who is going to pay for it? And you're also talking about countries, even the strongest of countries, even Germany, the bellwether country over there, being in a very negative position because they have all these debts and no way to reclaim it. And probably are talking about a political nightmare as one government after another in Europe would get overthrown and a new government in, and it'd just be a tremendous mess.
Mark, Nobel Prize winning economist Paul Krugman, he spoke about the European debt crisis today, and he had his own solution. Listen up, everyone.
I would divide the problem countries into two groups, even within Europe. There are the ones that are probably fundamentally insolvent, where there's going to have to be a debt write-down, and that would be Greece, Portugal, Ireland. And then there are the ones that can probably make it through, even though it'll be very unpleasant, as long as there isn't a panic, and that would be Spain and Italy.
So, Mark, do you see that scenario playing out? And if it does, would that calm the markets here, in your view?
Well, I think Paul's right in the way he's mapped it out. Would it calm the markets? No. It would. If anything happens to the Eurozone where a country leaves or a country refuses to fund or people get in such trouble. You know, I've made the comment, and I made it this morning in my commentary, that the market itself can stop all this. If people feel, the big institutions, who are the people that I do business with every day, if those guys feel that they do not want to fund Italy and Spain anymore, the game is over, because the markets are much bigger than anything that the European Central Bank or the Stabilization Fund can do. And I'm here to tell you today on your show that I'm hearing from more and more large financial institutions that they just don't want to fund this silliness anymore.
All right, hey, Mark, thanks so much for joining us. Mark Grant there from Southwest. I happen to know that the biggest fixed income investors in the world